I suppose this is where all the magic happens, in this little book of joy. So all the thinking, all the ideas, so all sorts of things in here. So I guess it all starts for me with when I was young, I used to love drawing, absolutely love drawing. And it was my, not escape, because escape's the wrong word, it was kind of where I was happiest. It was just brilliant. It was like it was a place I could go to where I could just have my imagination and I could create anything. There was infinite possibilities. I could create anything I want, and I'd come up with all these interesting characters and stories in my head, and I bring them to life through my images and my drawings. So for me that was just amazing. He was brilliant. So as soon as I found drawing at the age of, I don't know, I think it was like 4, maybe earlier, I just drew every day for hours and hours and hours, and I practiced every day and I loved it. And then I guess it came to school and I was given career advice, and they said, oh no, you can't make any money through art, you can't do this, you've got to become an engineer. You know, you're good at science, your brain's okay, it's not too bad. You could become an engineer and you could learn about making things, and I loved helicopters and cars and all those kind of things. That was really cool, you know, that was brilliant. I thought, wow, these things are incredible things. And I won this award to make this remote controlled aircraft, and I was like, right, that's it, that's me settled now, that I'll be an engineer now, that's what I'm going to do. And then A-levels commenced, and mathematics was obviously very heavy for engineering, and I realised that my love for mathematics was 0 and my love for art was 1,000,000, and creativity was very high. So I guess, yeah, that was it. That was one of the first kind of times where I realised that I wasn't going to be an engineer at all, and that my parents, as much as they wanted me to be one, they wanted me to be happy, I guess, but they didn't quite know if I'd be able to make it in my career as an artist, or kind of in the creative kind of industry, because it's a bit more uncertain, I guess, or maybe they didn't know which direction to go in, or which way to advise me. So yeah, so that was it. So I studied geography instead, which is like, I just remember just kind of coming out of A-levels and thinking, oh, well, I love the world, you know, I love all nature and I love plants, and so, you know, I was always into plants and nature, and that was like obviously a big thing growing up, and I always kind of just imagined these, like, you know, magical jungle worlds and these little kind of romantic landscapes away and that kind of thing. So it was always like a big thing for me, nature, bringing nature and creativity and bringing that together into one thing. And I thought, I know, I'll become a geographer. But that's because I didn't know about landscape architecture at that time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea about that. So I just kind of knew that my parents had done geography, and they goes, oh, it's great careers in planning and all sorts of things like that. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'll do that. And I went off to university, but halfway through the course I realised that I didn't, you know, it wasn't really for me. I needed to do something which touched with me, you know, which kind of like connected me again to that creativity, to that kind of my natural state of wanting to create things and be the creator and make things beautiful for other people. And so halfway through, I remember it happened when I was in a garden. So I was in a garden on holiday with my family, and I was 21 or something. So this is many years, this is halfway through my university, and I looked in the garden and I was like, wow, someone's designed this. And I was like, Dad, what's the deal with this? Who's made this? And he goes, Matt, this is the job of a landscape architect or a landscape designer. And so from that point onwards, I was like, wow, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to draw landscapes and build them and create them and imagine these amazing places and then bring them to life, and not just for myself, obviously, because it's very satisfying creating things for yourself, but the greatest satisfaction comes from creating things for other people, legacies that you can leave for everyone there. Good ground cover. Basically, he sends out like loads of like little runners under the ground. So basically, he sets out all these little runners, and it's like. The magical things you can make yourself feel happy, but imagine having the ability to make other people feel even happier and than they already are. You know, kind of giving them these positive kind of feelings, and I think that became my aim then.
Wow.
So yeah, that was kind of the thing. You know, you're like, wow, let's do this. So I started studying. I went to University of Gloucestershire, that was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. Literally, it was just incredible to be on a course with so many creatives and young people. And I was drawing every day, and I had tracing paper. I was making a mess, and it was amazing. And I remember just being there, and that was like my happy place. And I was like, I found what I wanted to do. I found what I love, and now I can, bring that to the world in some sort of fashion or. In some sort of way. So yeah, that was fantastic. That was amazing. So I feel very fortunate to have found that, because a lot of people don't find something that they love so much that they can't give it up. I still have the urges to do, because landscape creativity is although it's connected to drawing and painting and this kind of thing, they're slightly different. There's a connection, but also there's still a need in my head to go and do something completely wacky. And I guess maybe one day with landscape design, I'll get to that position where I can just go out there and create something completely bonkers, and not because there needs to be any reason, but because it's something in your head's happening, and it's like a magical thing. Maybe you don't have to understand what's happening at all. Maybe it's just like this thing that's happening in your head, and you just like process of just creating these crazy, awesome places. And I don't know. And I guess this kind of element of art coming into it as well. So you got this kind of. I always enjoyed creating characters and landscapes in these magical places. So this is a piece here that I did for an album. It ended up being an album cover for a friend of mine. For a vinyl cover, but it's kind of creating this kind of, it's inspired by my travels in New Zealand. So it's got this kind of beautiful landscape in New Zealand, these amazing rolling hills, and I remember we were in a caravan and we were just in the kind of the landscape, and it was just amazing. You'd wake up every day in a new place, somewhere beautiful, and I guess when I came back from all those beautiful and amazing experiences travelling New Zealand, I wanted to kind of put them into something. And so quite a lot of my things are inspired by landscapes or places I've seen, or places I've been to, and then I kind of emphasize and kind of exaggerate elements of that in my head, in my mind, and make it more exaggerated and more beautiful if I can. it's almost based on a moment or a feeling that I've had, and you get that from the landscape. The way sometimes you get to a clearing, you know, you kind of like, it's the way you get like it's transition. It's the transition between the landscape spaces. So you get to and so this here, you've got to this point here, and suddenly you have this view. It just kind of went boom in my head, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And so it saved into my head as like an emotion, as some sort of kind of emotive connection. And so I wanted to recreate that and then bring that to other people, I guess. So that's what I tried to do. I think difficult at first. I think difficult being a creative person, kind of trying to, because I got high expectations about what the things I want to create, the things that I want to make. I guess I wanted to, you want to instantly go from having all the freedom and flexibility of university, and you want to do that in real life, but then you realise that actually not quite simple as that. And I think at first I found it difficult, realising that I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do straight away, because you're now working for a client and they've got their intentions. You've got to kind of do things their way. You know, it's not just about creating your vision, it's about kind of giving life to their vision. And I think that was difficult to kind of understand at first, but that's still very important. You know, that's still an element that's very beautiful, because you think about, actually you want to do a great job, you want to, you know, make a beautiful place still, you know, and that's about other people still, you know, because that's where they're going to live. They're going to live somewhere, you know. They're going to walk out of their house and they're going to interact with the landscape that you've created. There's and it doesn't have to be crazy and wacky at all times. Until that point, I'm learning a lot about the process and a lot about how I design, and I've realised that actually design, before it seemed like a lucky thing, like I stumbled upon this thing or this idea, but it happens all the time. You just get into a place, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel about getting these ideas, and the more they just come. So it's not like about lucky, you just go run through a process and you tend to end up at these things, which is nice and satisfying to know. So and you don't get scared then either that you might not be able to get there. Wow. Because you just trust, you just know, you just believe that you can do that. And then once you believe, then you can you can get there, can't you? So yeah, basically, I guess for me it's difficult at first, obviously, but now once you're on the track and you realise that you're actually, now I'm making things in real life for other people, and it's like, wow, that's an incredible thing, and that's an amazing thing to be able to do, you know. I feel very fortunate, very humbled, and I can't wait to see what's in store for the future.